Well, you can probably guess where this is going, can't you? Time for the Kuva Zarr. Yes, instead of going through the whole hassle of trying to get it, we just skipped straight to the part of, oh look, there it is. It's not like I've just spent the past 20 or 30 minutes and the audio may be a little bit weird at the beginning of this because I'm basically lying on the floor. Because I've been doing this for way too long. Finding that last weapon can be a nightmare. But it's finally over with. Have the Kuva Lich that has the Zarr. The Kuva Zarr. Sadly though, from the video, no ephemera. At all. What percentage does it have? Low. Really low. Wow, okay. This is in one of the Tenet videos. I did turn around and say that usually when I do these I get it with very low percentages on, and there's a prime example. Very low percentages. Go down, you horribly annoying Lich, because that is exactly what happened there. That was another one of those battles that was a complete nightmare. Mad respect to the person in here. I would have failed that if I had have been solo, because just don't know what that was. Something kept one-shotting me with ease. Ugh. Put in the comment section right now, what do you think I'm going to do? Am I going to do the scumbag move that I have seen way too often, but for some reason only with Liches, where you basically take out your Lich and leave? I do not know why people do this, but it's a thing that apparently they like to do. Also, where's my Lich gone? So, that is you, isn't it? I don't know, all I can say is a purple glow. No, it's not. You're over there. So what do you think? Comment section. Is that what I'm going to do? Let's find out, shall we? Of course it's not what I'm going to do. I'm not that kind of Warframe player. Wow, the second one just shot me from that room all the way down the corridor. That's nuts. And yes, I'm still using the Grappler. I'm almost done leveling this thing up. And plus the enemy's now down now anyway. Straight to the inbox. There it is. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. The last of the new Kuva weapons. It's the one I was always going to go for last. Let's be honest. It is, out of all of the weapons that came in 30.5, the one I was looking forward to the least. Well, yeah, definitely the one I was looking forward to the least. There is also possibly way too many Kuva based primaries and secondaries when you look at this, and there is 12, 14 of them. Yeah, and this, as you could expect, more crit, more status, more impact, more radial attack, longer range, which is more important. The barrage does look like it has less damage, but it has a bigger magazine. Really don't want to say more status because it's very minimal, but it's more crit. This thing has always been more crit based, but it's the radial attack that should be the important factor to this, and that is buffed, though the damage per projectile isn't. I mean, come on, do I really have to say this? I know this is the stats for people having it equipped on Wukong. That's besides the point. It's the fact that it is the most used by, what would you call that? Over 2 million tenno? Yeah. This thing everybody has seen. If you've played a game and somebody's running around with a launcher style weapon, it's probably the Kuva Zarr, because this thing has been absolutely everywhere since its release. It is more popular, as you saw from the stats, than the Brahma, and the Brahma, at the time the Brahma was released, arguably better than the Lenz. Be honest with yourself, when is the last time you saw anybody running around with a Lenz or a Brahma? You do see them every so often, but compared to when these things came out, over the past year they have kind of sat in the back going, well, we are here, please play with us. Especially the Lenz.
You would have noticed it wasn't even on that list. The Tenet Lenz needs to be a thing, and it needs to be a thing quickly. Because people are dying for this thing, and people have kind of forgot the lens actually exists. Because, well, the Kuva Zarr came around. And bizarrely enough, this thing, yeah, every single aspect of this was buffed. Does technically have a slower fire rate for the barrage mode, but we're just going to completely ignore that. It does take longer to reload, but it's worth it. And this is one of the reasons that a lot of people are kind of being a little bit annoyed about the changes to ammo that are coming, that basically means special ammo for things like launchers will no longer be a thing. There's going to be primary ammo and secondary ammo. That could not be a change that doesn't last very long, because they used to be that, and that's gone. So launchers are going to get a lot more ammo a lot quicker, and the only way I can see this working is if they come to things like the Kuva Zarr that is in just every aspect of the way it works and everything else stronger. It's literally worded in the description of it. An even stronger Zarr cannon to meet the demands of Kuva Liches, with stronger explosive barrages and long-range flak shots. Because this thing isn't supposed to be a launcher. In case you didn't know that one. It was supposed to be more of a flak cannon that didn't quite hold up to the flak cannonness of it, because you're allowed to use rifle mods. Which straight up means doing silly things like basically wishing this riven mod right here was able to go in here and actually be a Zarr riven, but it's not. But who cares when you're doing 13,000 radial damage? Yeah. The rest of them, even the damage per projectile, is 9,500. Actually, that's not per projectile, that's just the damage for the projectile. 10,000 damage. Yeah. This is one of those times I agree with everybody when they kind of say, that's a must. And I agree with it being a launcher and not having a very long range heavy caliber. Serration, must. Terminal velocity for the 60% projectile speed, kind of a must. To be fair, these are all just dual stat elemental, and that's crit. So I know this can be built to be much, much stronger than this, but I'm holding out for the Riven. Once I get a Riven, I can decide what I'm doing with the elemental side of it. This is basically just damage, damage, projectile speed. And that give it nearly 13,000 radial and 10,000 projectile. Yeah, you can kind of understand at this point why people are still using this thing a year and a bit on. Oh, and plus with the changes that are coming to Wukong, it means this thing is going to start to fade off from people using it just so they can give it to Wukong and let Wukong's Celestial run around, and I'm going to get into so much grief for saying it that way on... Is it Celestial? The Celestial Twin. It runs around, and if you have melee out, as you would have seen from pretty much all the footage, they are changing it so it does half the damage it's doing right now. So I can see this weapon disappearing fairly quickly, but to be honest, I have thoroughly enjoyed this thing. I liked it when it came out. I still like it. If I'm using Wukong, I'll kind of put this thing straight on there because he can fire it so much better. But at the same time, it's kind of cheaty, which is why they are changing Wukong so he can't do this. But that's besides the point. Yes, they are changing him to do more damage, and they mention the fact that nobody uses his... When you summon the Celestial Twin, and you split into two, if you target an enemy, it will do twice the damage to them. That will still work. So instead of doing half the damage, it'll do twice the damage. And I mean twice the damage of its base stats of the weapon, not half the damage of its base stats, which it will be doing in the future. That part will still work, so it'll be doing 4 times its normal damage when they make all of these changes in September. So it's also one of the main reasons I've kind of avoided doing this, because I'm just sick of seeing Zarrs everywhere. Because they are. Everybody has been using this since it came out last year, and I would much rather grab a Shakur or the Heck, and yes, I mean Kuva variants, even the Kuva Ogress, than this thing. Yes, I like it. Yes, it does an insane amount of damage, if we're being honest here. In certain circumstances, it's great. I see this more of a Spectre gun, because if you give this to your Spectres, it will also be doing a lot of damage and ignoring ammo capacity, and technically it's still reloads, but I think that's just a kind of an animation thing. They don't really use ammo. Yes, it doesn't do as much damage, but it does a lot more damage than other things, and they are really, really accurate with them as well. So I think I will actually give this to my Spectres, because the Ogress will always hold that little place in my heart, whereas this thing, it's just the fact that in my eyes, it will always be a flak cannon that failed to be a flak cannon, which is exactly what it is kind of shipped as. It literally said it at the end, long range flak shots, but it's not a flak cannon. It is, but it isn't. I prefer the Dragoon. That's more of a flak cannon than this thing, which is sad from the company that brought us Unreal Tournament that had one of the best flak cannons ever. Stick shotgun mods on this, I would have been fine with it and would have absolutely loved this thing. The fact it uses rifle mods, it just seemed way too cheaty and way too cheesy of a weapon to use. That is the best way that I can put this. And it still kind of is. It doesn't do a lot of damage, there's just something really cheesy about it. So I just put it away and went off to use, yeah, the Flux rifle of all things. God, I'm an idiot. But with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.